Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, we're going to go over some of the events that Plarium has announced for the upcoming CVC. We have CVC happening in about 18 hours here. So you can see here, we got double objectives for campaign, double point shogun, and then double point forge. So forge is something you should be doing during CVC anyways. The other thing to consider for CVC is actually obviously summoning your Wixwell fusion, whether it be the epics, leveling them up, and summoning Wixwell himself. It's just going to be a nice boost in points. I did make a video about this. It's about 50,000 in points just by doing the epics and Wixwell. So definitely take advantage of that. But also keep in mind that your opponents likely will be doing that. So the point totals in general will be much higher. Another reason why the point totals I think would be much higher is this new active summoning pool here for in the Altar of Souls for these jewels. So they're selling jewels right now. This is clearly a massive spender event. It's gives you the best odds at pulling 4, 5, 6-star big souls. So epic or legendary, obviously, and then obviously the bigger chances of pulling the big value souls. Big value souls are actually worth quite a bit of points in the CVC, so expect your CVC to be quite heavily bought over. With that said, this event is clearly a massive spender event. It's, like I said, one of the best events in terms of odds for people targeting specific champions. For example, 6-star Krizia, or 6-star Newt, or 6-star Mishinaki for Hydra, a 6-star Yumiko, for example. These are the best odds for getting and targeting these specific champions. So if you're in a big spender clan, then I would expect some big spenders drop some money on these if they're after these. All right, so what else does Plarium have up their sleeves to try to shake the dollars free from your hands? So right now they got a progressive announcement right here for the next 2 days running. So we got on the first day, we have a progressive event going on for Newt. So the super strong fusion from the past, one of the best fusions of all time. He's got the triple hit max HP slam. He's got the triple hit freeze or Terminator drop, basically just the Fire Knight specialist move. Also just generally kind of good for like trouble wave minions, but he's basically known for this triple max HP slam. He's incredible if you have 1. He's insanely good if you have 2. He speeds up a lot of your teams. I've been lucky enough to have 2 of these, so some of my farming teams are extremely quick. But yeah, he's a great champ. He was past fusion, so you might have him if you've been playing a while. Otherwise, he's insane, even if you have 2 of them. After that, we have Valkyrie from the Barbarian faction. She brings the team-wide counterattack and then the big shields, more relevant in killable clan boss settings. Also good in Fire Knight Hard as well. Falling off a little bit in Arena just because Stone Skin stops her passive from pushing the turn meter, but she's still a very solid champion. After that, we have Stultus. Stultus actually low-key insanely good. He's insanely good in Dragon Hard 10. I know Dragon Hard 10 is probably one of the easier hard dungeons, for example, but Stultus definitely speeds it up. If you get this guy, you put him against the Hard 10 dragon or hard dragon, and he just obliterates him. His passive pushes back the poison against the dragon, so whenever the dragon poisons your team, he pushes all that damage back to the dragon. And there is probably something wrong in the coding for Stultus because this doesn't require accuracy, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but hey, it's a positive thing for the player base, so we're not going to draw too much attention to it, I guess. But yeah, so that's Stultus. He's also a very decent defense nuker as well with multiple AoEs. After that, on day 1, we have Green Warden Ruark from Sylvan Watchers. So Ruark to me is kind of like a budget Stultus for a hard dragon. He doesn't need books to make this work, but his A1 basically transfers all debuffs from himself onto the target. So once he's poisoned by the dragon, he can just A1 and send all those poisons back to the dragon. This is a very kind of specific use case for Green Warden, but it's very, very effective, and he doesn't need books for this to happen. He does need accuracy, but he doesn't need books. Otherwise, his kit is kind of it's kind of okay. He's got an AoE decreased attack, and then he's got he's got buffs, and then the taunt buff, of course. But you haven't really seen him use too much. Like I've tried to use this guy against Shogun, but the speed requirements to make this guy activate his taunt before the Shogun going is like pretty insane. It's like 340 speed or something, so it's not worth putting that level of speed on this guy. But overall, he's a pretty underrated, low-key, under the radar champion, but his A1 makes him incredibly good against the hard dragon. Afterwards, down to the Void champions, we have a Grazur. Grazur is one of the best Hydra champions in terms of damage dealers. I would love to have this guy, but I mean, for these progressive events, for Void, you're looking at about 20% chance to hit your targeted Void champion if you hit a Void legendary, which is obviously 0.5%. He brings the AoE provoke, he brings the big heals, his passive makes him unkillable when he dies, he also heals the team, and then he protects your team with a AoE shield on his A1. That's really, really good. And then what is it? This hit is actually max HP, so that's where a lot of his damage comes from. But like I said, the percentage chance of getting a specific Void legendary is like close to 20%, and on a 15x progressive, and then on a non-Void, it's like 8%, 7.5%, 8%. So you're definitely like shooting pretty long shot here for some of these progressive events. So I highly recommend you do not participate in these events unless you are, probably like a spender. So lastly, for day one, we have Tormund the Cold from the Dwarves of faction. He's great. He was a past fusion. He was offered up as a Titan event, which was awesome actually. He brings the AoE freeze A1, single target remove, and then he brings the AoE provoke, and his passive is what is really good about him. Basically any kind of turn meter stuff from your enemy gives them a chance to be frozen. Still good in live arena, for example, even though stone skin exists. So if you don't have stone skin and you're going up against Tormund, you're probably going to be frozen, most likely, unless you're my Tormund who never freezes anybody. Just kidding. That's just a common gripe when I'm playing live arena. It's like, why does my Tormund not freeze anyone? But it's probably because maybe my accuracy is too low. I don't know. Anyways, but he's a great champion, but not really somebody that you're going to be targeting, I think. And then on day two, I think day two is probably the weaker day, maybe. But we got Roshgard the Tower from the Sacred Order here. Where's Roshgard? Is he Bannerlords? Maybe Bannerlords. They all kind of look the same after a while. Roshgard, where are you, buddy? Where are you? Oh my goodness. Where's my editor needs to edit out this embarrassing moment. Was I right? Yes, I was right. Sacred Order. There you go. Big feather hat guy. Very, very cool. He brings the 4-turn block of damage, and then he has the single target block active buffs, block buffs, block active skills. He's mainly going to be used for this. He's good for Iron Twins and traditional clan boss if you pick him up. After that, we have Bivalt the Thorn from the same faction. Underrated fusion actually from the past. He brings the A1 basically not irresistible, but it lands as a weak hit, so affinity is not an issue for him. A1 provoke, A2 provoke with leech AoE, and then A3 AoE shield. So good support champion, good for Hydra and all that. So very, very decent champion. After that, we have Artak, which is probably the best champion from day two. Artak's going to be from the Orc faction, was a free champion at some point, but he's incredibly impactful for places like Ice Golem. You can be used for Spider as like an HP burn detonator. You can use him for campaign. He's just a great champion overall. He's good everywhere, and personally, I put him as the #1 biggest like impact carry that an early or mid game account can have. He's just incredibly good in so many places. Yes, gear requirements are high for like the end game stuff, but I mean, for him to be able to basically make Ice Golem hard much easier, one of the harder dungeons. There's not too many alternatives to him as well in Ice Golem Hard, for example. So he's great for that. Definitely probably the best from the bunch in day 2. And then we have Walking Tomb Drang, which is another fusion. Also very good. He brings the AoE HP burn here. AoE HP burn here, that can't be resisted, so he doesn't need accuracy, so that's really easy to build him. And then he brings the A1 detonation as well. Very, very good champion, has good stats to keep him alive, doesn't need accuracy, so you just build up all his stats, which is pretty good. Was a past fusion as well, and was well received. After that, well, we got White King Narcissus. This guy basically ruined Arena for me because I don't have him, so I can't counter what he counters, which is basically the shield meta. And yeah, he counters champions like Taras because he has a attack here that basically cannot be decreased by passive skills. So he neglects passive skills when he hits. So he can kill Rotos, he can kill Taras. So champions like that have built-in mitigation in their kits no longer are protected from White King Narcissus. Also, he's insanely good with his partner, Ancora, and Ancora is very good in her own right as well. Great champion, was a guarantee, but people might be looking for empowering him by picking up copies of him. Again, it's going to be a long shot for any kind of progressive champion, so definitely avoid if you're not a big spender or if you don't want to be super disappointed. Last for Void champions, we have Emic Trunkheart. Probably one of the best fusions of all time as well. He's shown that he's capable in so many different areas. It's pretty obvious to me that his kit was very unique. He has the cooldown reduction, so he has a built-in cooldown reduction in his kit, as well as a unkillable buff in his kit as well. And then he brings some shield mechanics as well, which was nerfed. But very good champion. He's shown his worth in many different areas in this game. You could call him like a progressive, like a progression champion, and of course he would be insane as a progression champion if you pick him up early. But he's shown a lot of late game applications as well in like Hydra. He's enabled like auto Hydra teams as well. And of course these cooldown reduction ability and on champions are insanely valuable. So definitely a great champion, but he was a past fusion, so many people might have him already, and he's not really somebody you want to empower, but maybe having 2 of them would be good, just to build some cool teams around. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for the announcements for today. I will be streaming CVC shortly after it starts tomorrow, so make sure you guys stop by if you guys are interested in checking it out. It is PR, so we'll be probably doing some extra things just to get some more points. Keep in mind that PR CVC will be a little bit more competitive, like I said, with this Altar of Souls, which will be bringing lots more high point totals, as well as the Wixwell fusion that people should be pulling during CVC. Should push up the point totals a little bit. And also, if you guys are going for the Sand Devil tournament and picking up the 60 jewels at the very top here for 3,500 points, might I add, which is seemingly ever growing. I remember actually this used to be 3,000. This middle stone used to be 3,000. And then I think the pieces, whether it was like the quartz or the jewels, was 3,000. I'm not too sure. This used to be 3,000, this middle jewel, but I like that it's 2,600, but this feels expensive, 3,500. I don't know, I feel like the top end used to be 3,000. Anyways, if you guys are picking this up, make sure you guys pull the big soul during CVC if you guys want the points, and of course make sure you guys pull the Wixwell fusion during the CVC if you guys want the points. Anyways guys, that's gonna be it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are planning to do. Like I said, my advice would be to avoid some of these progressive events outside of fusions, outside of dedicated events for them, outside of guarantees. Definitely avoid them if you guys can help it. Have a great CVC. Yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys are planning to do, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you later.